Euphoria hit our screens in 2019 and instantly shook up television. Set in the fictional town of East Highland, California, it follows teenagers dealing with addiction, identity, intimacy, and trauma through a neon-lit, glitter-soaked lens. I like the show not only for its visual style, but its willingness to bring out the raw, ugly truth of teenage struggle. No sugarcoating, no easy answers, just messy reality. Remember when teen shows used to be all gossip and romance troubles? Euphoria said goodbye to that era and hello to something much shadier. Everything begins and ends with Rue Bennett, played by Zendaya. Born 3 days after September 11th, Rue narrates our story while battling severe addiction, bipolar disorder, and crushing anxiety. We meet her fresh out of rehab following a summer overdose that left her in a coma. This wasn't a random event. It happened on the 3-year anniversary of her father's death from cancer. The connection between her grief and addiction forms the emotional core of the entire series. How many of us turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms when faced with pain too big to handle? Have you grappled with this at some point in your life? Please let me know in the comments. Rue's story takes this universal truth and amplifies it to life or death stakes. Instead of staying clean, Rue immediately seeks out her dealer, Fezco, setting up the central conflict that drives the series, her battle between wanting to live and wanting to escape. Around Rue orbits a constellation of equally complex characters. Jules Vaughn arrives in town like a comet, bright, vibrant, and immediately noticeable. As a transgender teen with her own trauma history, Jules seeks validation through hookups with older men. When she meets Rue, their instant connection creates the show's central relationship, beautiful but ultimately combustible. Nate Jacobs embodies toxic masculinity at its most dangerous. The star quarterback with severe rage issues discovered his father's secret rated tapes at age 11, warping his understanding of masculinity and sexuality. His calculated cruelty makes him the show's most terrifying character, despite never touching drugs. Ever noticed how the most popular person at school might be secretly fighting the darkest battles? Nate takes this truth to its extreme. Cassie Howard desperately craves male validation after her father abandoned her family. Her need for love leads to a leaked rated tape, pregnancy, abortion, and eventually betraying her best friend. Sydney Sweeney's portrayal of Cassie's fragile emotional state makes even her worst decisions understandable. Maddy Perez stays trapped in an abusive relationship with Nate, recreating the toxic patterns she witnessed in her parents' marriage. Her fierce exterior hides someone who believes toxic love is better than no love at all. Kat Hernandez transforms from insecure virgin to confident cam girl after a rated tape of her goes viral. Her journey explores how the internet has changed teen sexuality, for better and worse. Lexie Howard observes from the sidelines until she finally finds her voice by creating a play about everyone's lives. As Cassie's sister and Rue's childhood friend, she represents the normal teen, watching chaos unfold around her. Fezco sells drugs but maintains a strict moral code. Raised by his grandmother in the trade, he now raises his adopted brother Ashtray, while trying to protect Rue despite enabling her addiction. After exploring the characters that make up Euphoria's complex web, let me take you through how Season 1 throws them all together and sets this dark train in motion. Season 1. The pilot episode throws us into the deep end with a party that connects all our characters. Jules unknowingly hooks up with Nate's dad Cal at a motel. Nate intimidates Jules at the party, creating instant tension. Rue and Jules meet for the first time, sparking immediate chemistry. Kat loses her virginity in a filmed encounter that will change her life. Maddy has public revenge intimacy to make Nate jealous. From here, Rue falls hard for Jules, finding in her a reason to stay sober. Meanwhile, Jules begins texting someone named Tyler, believing she's found her perfect match. The cruel twist is that Tyler is actually Nate catfishing Jules to protect his father's secret. When they finally meet in person, Nate blackmails Jules with her nude photos. Think about this psychological torture, finding someone who truly understands you, only to discover it's all been a manipulation. Would you be able to trust again after that? The season reaches a turning point when Nate chokes Maddy during an argument, leaving visible bruises on her neck. When police investigate, Nate manipulates everyone into lying for him, which goes miles to show how abusers maintain control through fear and intimidation. Throughout these events, Rue struggles with sobriety. Jules becomes her lifeline, but this brings about an unhealthy dependency that can't sustain either of them. The season finale brings everything to a breaking point. Rue and Jules plan to run away together on a train. At the station, Rue backs out, unable to abandon her family. Jules leaves alone, and a devastated Rue relapses in a stunning musical sequence that still haunts viewers years later. The special episodes between seasons, creator Sam Levinson gave us 2 special episodes that removed all the show's visual flair to focus purely on character. The first follows Rue on Christmas Eve, sitting in a diner with her sponsor Ali. Their raw conversation about addiction, suicide, and redemption provides the psychological foundation for understanding Rue's struggle. When Ali tells Rue, "Drugs aren't your problem, they're your solution," he articulates the central challenge of addiction recovery, finding new solutions to unbearable pain. The second special shows Jules in therapy, processing her relationship with Rue and her own identity. She confesses the burden of being Rue's sobriety anchor and admits she's still emotionally attached to Tyler, despite knowing he wasn't real. These quieter episodes might lack the visual drama of regular installments, but they provide the emotional depth that makes the show's more explosive moments meaningful, rather than merely shocking. If you've stuck with me this far, drop a comment with your favorite Euphoria character. I'm curious which storylines resonated most with different viewers. Hit that subscribe button while at it. Season 2. The second season begins on New Year's Eve with several game-changing moments. Fez beats Nate nearly to death, delivering long-awaited consequences. Cassie hooks up with Nate in a bathroom, betraying her best friend Maddy. Rue meets Elliot, a new student who enables her drug use. Jules and Rue reunite and make their relationship official. From here, everyone spirals further. Cassie becomes obsessed with Nate, spending hours each morning getting ready just to catch his eye. Her desperation manifests physically. She throws up from anxiety when Maddy unknowingly talks about getting back with Nate. Ever kept a secret so big it made you physically ill? Cassie's storyline takes this relatable experience to its extreme. Meanwhile, Rue comes up with a catastrophic plan. She convinces drug dealer Lori to front her a suitcase with $10,000 worth of drugs, claiming she'll sell them when she actually plans to use them herself. Lori, a former teacher turned calculated drug lord, sees through the lie but provides the drugs anyway. It's the perfect trap. The season's 5th episode, Stand Still Like the Hummingbird, delivers the most intense hour of television I've ever seen. Jules and Elliot tell Rue's mom about her drug use. When confronted, Rue destroys her house in withdrawal rage, physically fighting her family before running away. To create a distraction during this intervention, Rue reveals Cassie and Nate's relationship, triggering a new explosion of drama. She then flees, breaks into a house to steal jewelry, narrowly escapes police, and ends up at Lori's apartment. In the show's most nightmarish sequence, Lori injects Rue with morphine in a bathtub and implies she'll force Rue into intimacy trafficking to recover her money. Somehow Rue escapes the next morning, which I find to be a rare moment, where the show pulls back from the absolute worst possibility. While Rue begins recovery, other storylines reach breaking point. Lexie makes a play based on everyone's life, featuring a homoerotic dance number that publicly humiliates Nate. Nate has his father arrested for his crimes, finally confronting the source of his trauma. And in the most heartbreaking storyline, Fez misses Lexie's play because his brother Ashtray kills an informant. When police raid their house, Ashtray refuses to surrender, resulting in a shootout where he dies and Fez is arrested. The season ends with Rue narrating that she stayed clean for the rest of the school year, the first genuine hope spot in an otherwise devastating show. Season 3. After years of delays due to the pandemic, strikes, and the tragic death of Angus Cloud, who played Fezco, Season 3 is finally filming. Here's what we know. The story will feature a time jump, showing the characters beyond high school. Most of the main cast is returning, though Barbie Ferreira and Storm Reed, Gia, won't be back. Set photos leaked in April 2025 show Cassie in a wedding dress with a CNN monogram. Is she actually marrying Nate after everything? This potential development has sparked major debate among fans. Sam Levinson has described the season as a film noir that will explore what it means to be an individual with principles in a corrupt world. HBO executives have hinted this will likely be the final season, wrapping up these characters' stories once and for all. What storyline are you most hoping gets resolved in the final season? The Jules-Rue relationship, Nate's redemption, or downfall? Cassie's journey to self-worth? Let me know in the comments. The show's impact. Euphoria's influence extends far beyond viewership numbers. It's transformed how we visually represent teen experiences on screen and sparked important conversations about addiction. Through Rue, we see addiction not as a moral failure, but as a disease that affects everyone around the addict. When Rue destroys her house during withdrawal, both her desperation and her family's helplessness feel painfully authentic. The show also explores how trauma shapes identity. Every character's actions, from Nate's aggression to Cassie's neediness to Jules' search for validation, trace back to childhood wounds that haven't healed. Some critics argue Euphoria goes too far with its explicit content, but defenders note its brutal honesty about consequences prevents any real glamorization. The show never pretends drug use leads anywhere but destruction, nor that toxic relationships end happily. Do you think shows like Euphoria help teens by showing harsh realities? Or potentially harm them by normalizing extreme behavior? Did you find value in this breakdown of such a complex show? Hitting that subscribe button would mean the world. We'll be covering more series that push boundaries and reveal uncomfortable truths about human nature.